Welcome to QC Crime Watch. I'm Linda Cook,
And I'm Sharon Wren.
and we're both writers for OurQuadCities.com. Both of us focusing on crime. And today we'll talk to you a little bit about some crimes that have been committed, some that are alleged to have been committed. And they're crimes that we're going to follow up on. We don't have a lot of detail on. So we need to tell you first off, as we always do, neither one of us is an attorney, and we are unable to give legal advice.
So there.
Sharon, you have a really interesting one.
Oh, yeah, this one's fresh because this sentencing just happened this afternoon. A Silvis woman who was in the news because she was arrested on three separate occasions for skip scanning has been sentenced in the second case. Now, for those who don't know, skip scanning is when you go to a self-checkout, but you don't scan everything in your cart. You scan a package of drink mix, for instance, and put the pot roast in your bag and walk out with the roast.
Okay,
having
so
only paid for the drink mix.
You skip items.
You skip items.
Okay,
So-
and that's a fairly common crime that happens when there are these self-checkouts, right?
Right, and actually this increase in crime has led to many stores pulling their self-checkouts.
Okay, so but this is not the first case, I should say, for her, correct?
Or the second.
Oh,
She's got three. Now,
Okay.
Let's get going. A woman from Silvis named Linnea Bennett was arrested on March 28th, 2024, and April 19th, 2024 in Scott County, and on April 20th in Rock Island County. Yes, arrested twice in 2 days on charges of retail theft. She's accused in dozens of instances of skip scanning per arrest charge. She pleaded guilty to the Rock Island County charges and was sentenced to 24 months of conditional probation.
okay.
She was just sentenced this afternoon in one of the Scott County cases and was sentenced to 3 years of probation under the supervision of the 7th Judicial District Department of Correctional Services. She still has a third case pending for the same
Okay.
charges.
So this woman will be serving probation in 2 different counties,
Yes.
correct?
So far.
Okay, so far. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, you have to wonder if there's going to be. Well, she checks in with the Rock Island County probation officer, but she can't get a hold of Scott County.
Right.
Does she call Rock Island again? Who knows?
It's interesting. I don't know that I've ever followed a case quite like that before.
I've never followed a case where the person had 2 active, let's call them sentences, in 2 different counties, let alone 2 different states.
I will say this. People say there's a difference between Illinois and Iowa, but each state is giving her a second chance.
Right.
So let's hope that by the time the third case rolls around, she has come to recognize this is probably not a good thing to pursue and maybe goes on straight and narrow. We hope, right?
Yeah, and she is not the only person we're following who is accused of this skip scanning.
Right. Although it's not a violent crime, but we end up paying more for security and more for items when things are stolen. Right. So is it a victimless crime? I would say not. I think it affects everybody who shops at any store.
And cases like this are why the Hy-Vee stores are pulling their self-checks out. And I know a lot of people don't like them, but some people do like them for the convenience of being able to get in and out faster.
It's expedient.
Yeah, and some people don't, they want to pack their items a certain way, or they don't really like interacting with people as much, so they just get in and get out. And now that we can't do that because these self-checks are going away.
Right. So that's really interesting. So it's not just in the Quad Cities.
No.
It's everywhere. Everywhere there are
Nationwide,
self-checkouts.
And not just Hy-Vee, Dollar Generals are pulling their self-checks. One by my house, they hadn't even put them in a month before they shut them down.
Oh, really?
It was, yeah, so that was, I don't know how much those things cost to install, but that's a fair amount of money that
Right.
they basically wasted.
Right.
And then you extrapolate that out to how many Dollar Generals, for example, there are in the country. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Well, this is just one person.
Right.
We hope this is a warning to others too. And if you think that you're getting by with something, you're really not.
No.
I have a kind of I'll call it a blurry crime here. This was reported Tuesday. A man was seriously injured after a burglary and then a shooting. I know, in Jackson County. Now, this is according to a release from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Shortly before 12:15 p.m., the Law Center received a 911 call from a rural Maquoketa resident saying that a person was trying to break into their home.
Actively in broad daylight.
Right. And as deputies responded, the dropped 911 call resumed. And this is a quote from this news release. And it was reported that a person had been shot during the incident.
Oh, my.
So responding deputies discovered that a man had indeed been shot several times during an altercation at the residence. He was flown to Iowa City with serious injuries. I don't know the condition of this man. I don't know his identity. There's
Right.
a lot I don't know here.
Right.
But I do know this. The Iowa Department of Public Safety's Division of Criminal Investigation responded to the sheriff's office in the investigation, and the law enforcement says there's no current or ongoing threat to the immediate area or extended community. So we'll try to follow up with this as best we can. A lot of it depends on this person's, status as a patient.
Yes.
And I don't know what charges, if any, will be filed against anyone. So that's
Right.
something we'll continue to follow.
Well, that also depends on the victim's condition as to the charges that
Exactly.
could be filed.
Exactly.
Oh, creepy. Well, in an equally creepy story, a man from Monmouth was arrested after Rock Island police say he stabbed a man in the neck and took his car. Now, yeah, a news
But it
release.
didn't happen in Monmouth,
No,
right?
it didn't happen.
Okay.
It happened in
That's
Rock
That's
Island.
where I'm from, so
Yes.
I always take everything personally.
Yeah, this
that
is in
happens
Rock
there.
Island. So a news release said that Rock Island police officers responded to the 3700 block of 14th Avenue for a report that someone had been stabbed. Officers found a man with non-life-threatening stab wound to his neck. The victim said an unknown man had approached him, stabbed him in the neck, allegedly, pulled him out of his car and took off with the car. The victim was taken to the hospital, treated and released, so this wasn't a serious injury.
He sounds as though he's very fortunate to me.
Yes, because how many times do you just have somebody walk up and stab you in the neck?
Right.
You know?
Ooh.
And yeah, the victim was taken to the hospital. License plate readers, we have heard talk about them in the past, about how they can help with crime. These were used to track the stolen vehicle to Galesburg. And the Knox County Sheriff's Department identified the suspect as Torrey Schultz, age 32, and an arrest warrant was issued for him for aggravated vehicular hijacking, armed robbery, aggravated battery, and possession of a stolen vehicle. Monmouth police arrested Mr. Schultz and booked him in the Knox County Jail.
Okay.
He is in the process of being extradited to Rock Island County because that's where the crime happened,
Right.
to face the charges. This is especially alarming because, yes, crime can happen in any part of town. This wasn't a bad part of town, and it's only a few blocks from Augustana College.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, actually, this is right near a ball field.
So I think some of what we do or try to do or provide cautionary tales to people.
Right.
Keep your wits about you. It may not necessarily be wise to not pay attention or
Right.
to have your window down.
down, sadly.
I don't know. I don't know what
It's
the
hard
answer
to tell
is.
with-
But
with what happened.
I know that area, and I never thought of it as a high crime area.
No, it's just off a main street. There's lots of businesses around there. I have actually been in that area because there's a Wendy's nearby, and you go through the drive-through, you pull over, you eat. So,
Sure.
yeah, and we don't know what the gentleman was doing, but he might have just been sitting there having a sandwich.
Right, just as innocent as could be.
Right,
So,
so-
I'm glad he's okay.
Yes,
because this
yes.
could have ended a lot.
terribly.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
because
worse.
yeah. So we're going to keep following this case too.
Well, and this is again not a violent crime, but this happened Sunday. A 28-year-old Davenport man was in custody after eluding a traffic stop. Now, this doesn't sound like a big deal, really. Jeremy Miller faces felony charges of controlled substance violation, eluding speeding 25 miles per hour over the limit, second or subsequent. That means he's faced that
This
charge
isn't
before.
not his first rodeo.
Failure to affix a drug tax stamp, and interference with official acts, dangerous weapon, and serious misdemeanor charges of assault on persons in certain occupations, and driving while his license was denied or revoked, according to Scott County court records.
Oh my.
Yeah, and this is just it started with a simple traffic stop.
Right.
So this was shortly before 4 p.m. March 23rd. Davenport police conducted a traffic stop on a 2004 Subaru Impreza. Did I say that right? I'm not sure.
I
how to
think
pronounce
so.
it. I'll say Subaru. In the 1300 block of Harrison Street. And it was all because dark window tint didn't allow officers to see what was inside.
Right.
And you can only have I don't know the degrees of tint, but anyway.
You can't have them completely blacked out.
Right. So Miller, who has an Iowa driver status of revoked, was driving a car with dark window tint that couldn't be tested with a tint meter before he took off from the traffic stop. Now, he also did not have a front registration plate affixed to the front bumper of the vehicle. So this is from the Scott County affidavit. Miller fled the lawful traffic stop in the vehicle at a high rate of speed. As the fully uniformed officer was removing Miller from the vehicle, knowingly and with intentional disregard for the safety of the officer.
Oh my.
Now, we've done stories very, very recently where, and we won't go into those,
Right.
where this kind of behavior has happened and an officer has felt threatened, been threatened because the car keeps going
Right.
as he's trying to remove the suspect.
Right.
So, affidavits show Miller has a prior conviction for felony eluding, and after they did stop him, police conducted a search warrant on Miller's apartment, and this is what they found. Multiple denominations of currency, both rolled up and flat, containing a white powdery residue consistent with cocaine, 2 small plastic bags of a white powdery residue consistent with cocaine, 2 cut straws, guess what I'm going to say after this, containing a white powdery residue consistent with cocaine. Right. A metal container, a black digital scale, and 29.7 grams of a white powdery substance, which tested positive for cocaine. So, this is a quote from the affidavit from police. Based on the amount, packaging material, and digital scale, the defendant had intent to deliver the narcotics. Additionally, he did not affix a tax stamp to the narcotics. That is a felony, and that is something that police pursue in these cases. So he is set for a preliminary hearing April 8 in Scott County, and we will continue to follow his case.
Well, that's all the time we have this week for QC Crime Watch. Join us next week for more on the crimes that make the Quad Cities hopefully lock their car and house doors.
And you be sure and do that. Lock yourself in your car. It's okay.